So we are saying that the process of communication always involves the sender. It always involves the message. It always involves the medium and the receiver. And we are talking about that there was a scientist that did understand or did a study on communication process. And from his findings, it reveals that the ingredients of communication process involves, or it includes, the source where the message is coming from. We have the message itself, and the receiver, and the channel. So further to that, now we are going to talk about communication process, which consists of the steps or stages. The first stage there we are talking about the message. Okay, the message, this is the background step, okay, to the process of communication by forming the subject matter for the start of the communication. So this one starts building up, and all this work is done by the sender. And this takes us now to the second point, which is who is the sender. So the sender is the actual now, person who initiate the process. Okay, is the one now that develops the idea, is the one that develops the thought, or is the one that who prepares the materials. If it is the teacher in this case is regarded as the sender, and the learner is regarded as a receiver. Then the sender or the teacher now, initiates and develops the message or the information. So this is the steps, or these are the steps that the communication follows. So the third point now takes us to the point of encoding. What is encoding? So for this course, we shall define encoding as giving a form. In what form is that message coming from? By what is the meaning? So there we are talking about the form and the meaning. Okay. So the message that is coming should have what form? In what form? Is it a symbol? Or are they words? Or are they graphs? Or drawing? Okay. So in what form? So there we are, then second one now we talk about the meaning. What is the meaning now? When we see that symbol, or when we see those words, or when we see those gestures, for example, as I'm talking here, as I'm presenting this lecture, as I'm doing the gestures, maybe as I'm shaking my hands here and there, then you are able to, take note of the gesture. What does it mean, this gesture? Is it emphasizing a point? So this is what we are talking about here. Then we go to this fourth point, which is the medium. In this case, we are talking about the medium. What method is that message being delivered to the receiver? Or what channel the message is supposed to be conveyed to the recipient? So we are saying that the process, this one is the process. These are the steps that the communication process undergoes. So when we start with the sender, then we have the information, then we have the information on the message, then that message or that information in what form? That is encoding. Encoding, the definition for encoding means understanding the form in which the information or the message is being delivered. And what is the meaning? That is in the case of now trying to understand in what way is it in form? Is it in words, graphs, and so on? So another point there we are talking about now is encoding. So in that case, encoding, we talked about it giving the form, okay? The medium, we talked about the methods, okay? So there are methods you can use, also even oral communication, or you can use some gadgets or phones or emails or internet to communicate. Further to that, following, we are still in the steps of communications, process. We are saying that the fifth one now, or the fourth one, is decoding. What does it mean to decode? All these are steps. in the communication process. So decoding means the interpretation of the message by the recipient. So the receiver has to interpret the message. When it comes, when you show a sign, if I do like this, what does it mean? So I should be able now to interpret what does it mean? Oh, that sign means he is emphasizing the point, okay? Or is agreeing to the teaching process. So in that case, we are saying decoding means you interpret. The receiver interprets the message as per intention of the sender. So he has to know what is the sender trying to do or trying to convey. Okay. At this stage, the communication process now is defined as the transmission of understanding. Okay. Further, we are saying that feedback, after we have finished the decoding, now we are talking about the feedback. We are saying that the feedback now is a complete process. When I send a message to you students, you must be able to say, but you must give me a feedback. I have to know that whether you have understood the topic or not. So if you don't give me a feedback, you don't give me questions or maybe asking for explanation, then you are saying that maybe the objective is not met. So at the end of the day, as the sender is delivering the message, there is an objective to be attained. And that objective is, for example, educator is to produce the results. And these results are that the learner has understood the subject. So this is very, very important, the feedback we need. So normally, even on phones, when somebody sends a message and you are not clear about it, you send back and ask, what do you mean here? I don't understand. That is the feedback now. So meaning that the sender will understand, oh, maybe I need to modify my message or my information. We have talked about all those steps. We have talked about the sender. We have talked about the message. We have talked about encoding, decoding, receiver, okay, and the methods, channels. Now we are going further in the discussion in the communication skills. Now here we are going to talk about the principles. What are the principles guiding communication process? So in order to effective and meaningful, the managerial function of communication must be guided by principles. What are the principles? So principle number 1 is a principle of understanding. Communication, there's a transmitting of understanding the message to the receiver. So we are saying that the receiver must be able to understand what the sender has said by giving the feedback. And this is the principle of understanding, because if the receiver has understood the subject or the information that has been sent, then this principle applies. The second principle that we are going to talk about now is the principle of attention. So we are saying that communication must be made in such a manner, that invite the attention of the receiver. Okay? So this is very important. We need to have that understanding and the sound manner, and also the purpose of sending and making that communication must be clearly done. So attention, the sender sends information to the receiver. The receiver must be able to pay attention to understand what has been delivered to them. So the message can be expressed in a pleasant and sound manner. Okay? The information that you are delivering to the receiver must be in that way where it is conducive. It is something that is understood, pleasant, okay? And it is in the manner that is, sound, okay? So that is a principle of attention, meaning that it is pleasant and in the sound manner, then we are saying that the receiver is able to have that attention to really to look at what has been delivered to him. The third principle is a principle of brevity. And the message in that case, the principle, in this case, we are talking about the communication or the message. It must be brief, okay? Brevity, in that case, we are saying, in simpler terms, we are saying something that is summarized in brief, okay? So we are saying that the communication or the message must be brief, and that is going to help this receiver to devote, enough time really to digest from that, okay? So in that case, we are saying that it is cost effective and it is complete. That's the advantage of this now. It is cost effective because you don't need to put bigger volumes of information so that it disturbs the receiver in terms of trying to understand, okay? But when it's brief, then it is complete, okay? Now we'll go to the fourth principle of timeliness, okay? We are saying that in this principle, we look at the issue of timeliness, meaning that the communication must be timely, isn't it? It must have a specific period of time under which that communication is taking place, okay? There are issues to do with, sometimes if you take too long, sometimes people may start forgetting. In that case, sometimes they may be delayed in terms of the purpose and so on. So we are saying that as we are delivering this message or this information to our end user, who is a receiver, then we are saying that we should be timely. And when we are talking about it timely, either the duration, we may say, is timely, and also it must be appropriate at a particular time. Are we delivering this at the right time? You can have a right information to deliver, but it's at the wrong time, okay? I can give an example. For example, like if you go into farming, for example, you can't be giving information about marketing of agricultural crops when it is time for farmers, when they are preparing their fields. The rains have not yet even started. And then you are saying, marketing of maize is so much. Then that is not timely, okay? That is just an example. So we go to the fifth one, which is the principle of appropriateness, okay? So this principle states that the communication must be appropriate in the context of realization of organizational objectives. The communication must be neither, which is not practical, but it must be something that has a contribution to the objectives. Okay, so our objectives, when we are saying that our objectives to deliver to the learner, as I'm delivering the lecture now, we can apply the principle of appropriateness, because now this is the course that is applicable to you, and then it is a course that you understand. It has objectives at the end of the course. It has objectives that we need to achieve. That you must understand this course, you must apply the principles and the theoretical practices that are applied in education and technology. So this, and our objectives as the educators or facilitators of this training is that we want to ensure that you as learners have understood the subject. So we are under this principle is appropriate, meaning that the course that you are undertaking or this unit that you are undertaking is appropriate for you because it's going to meet the objective of being learners. Then we proceed now to sixth, which is the principle of feedback. You remember when we started talking about stages of communication, we talked about those. And one of them is the feedback. And we said that a receiver or the recipient must be able to provide at an appropriate time the feedback of the message. So this principle applies because it says principle of feedback. So we are saying that communication must be a two-way process. A feedback is more like a reaction. As a receiver, you are reacting to the message or providing a response. That is a feedback, okay? And it must be easily be transferable to the sender. This principle of feedback, if I receive a message, I should be able to transfer it back because that's my reaction, or that would be my response, okay, from the message. So this principle applies principle of feedback. So the idea behind emphasizing on the feedback aspect of communication is that it helps the sender to modify, subsequent communication in view of the reasons or reactions of the recipient or the receiver, making it for better and improved human relations. So we are saying that when you provide a feedback to the receiver or to the receiver, then we are saying that the sender now will look at the information, the feedback. I can give an example. I think at one time we did a proposal, a project proposal, and we wrote to the funders, and we did a draft and sent it there. Then they made the comments. They made the comments to look at. I said, oh, maybe this section you are supposed to put this. That was a feedback that we received from there. And then as we were senders, we sent the proposal, we received those comments, and then we had to modify now our proposal and then send it back. So this is basically the principle of feedback. This is what we are now trying to understand, that the sender now will look at the message and the information. So let's look at now the sender himself or herself. So this is the technical term basically looking at which refers to a person who initiates the idea. So if you are the one who initiates the idea, then technically you are the sender, okay? And your responsibility is to disseminate, okay? And you should identify, how should I do it? Where and how should I assess it or deliver it? So the sender plays a very important role in communication process. So in order for a sender to be successful in his delivery of information and in the communication process, basically he must understand the receiver himself. Who is the receiver, first of all? What kind of a receiver is this person? So you must have, and that you package your information related to the type or the category of the receiver that you. So how do they speak? Okay. So even your writing, as you are delivering to the receiver, it must be well done, must be clearly written, so that somebody or the receiver, as they receive, they should be able to know, to understand and to grasp and be able to provide the feedback in time without confusion. Yeah, so we are saying that the sender has a responsibility to use some skills, that is maybe writing skills. We are talking about speaking skills, okay? So what are the learning styles? People, they should understand all aspects of that. Learning skills, what is the social status about our learners or our receivers? That helps him now to package the information that is needed for. Okay, now let's go to another stage, which is the decoder, or we call decoding. So this decoder is a receiver of the message. So decoding, we say the one who receives. We decode, we receive and understand in what form that message has come. So in that case, he is a communicatee, okay? He is also referred as the audience. You as students who are listening to my lecture now, you are the audience, you are the decoder, you are the one receiving this, okay? So therefore, it refers to a person for which the message is designed for. So this lecture is basically designed for you as learners. And the extent to which this communication process can be effective is determined by the degree of the changes that we notice now in the decoder. So how this communication can be effective, okay, in order for us to produce results, then we are saying the level of degree of the receiver as well as the sender, these must be in harmony. So if we further, we are saying that for effective, communication, you must be a good listener. For you to be a good, to understand the subject matter, you must be a good listener. You must understand physically that, okay, let me have time to listen. You remember when I was talking about in the previous units, I was talking about the radio and the advantages of a radio, and we are saying that for a radio, you must be a good listener. You must be able to understand and be able to interpret the information that has been sent. So as a listener or as a receiver, it's very, very important to understand. And there's also the sender is very critical to understand the degree or the level of the receivers or the people that are receiving the information, that you have designed that information for them. So you must have that broad understanding. And what are the skills that you are using? The skills such as writing skills, speaking skills, those must be adopted. Now, going further now, another step or another stage in communication, then we are talking about the message. What is a message? This refers to the information that we provide, we package for you as learners. That is a message, okay? It is a task or the content that we provide for a subject matter. And subject matter, it could be knowledge, anything, or skills, okay? These, we know that we package them, designed specifically for our learners. So, we are saying further that this message must be correct and adequate, shouldn't lack anything. Another stage there in communication process, we are saying that we talked about the methods, and channel is one of the methods. So anything that delivers or that you use to deliver the message to a receiver is a channel, okay? And it is also common called, sometimes we refer it to as medium or the media. So the general interpretation of this, meaning that we need to well package it and disseminate, and we can disseminate using different combinations of channels or methods. You can package, maybe you want to send it in that way, and then you use another media. You can either package it maybe in the software or online, and then either be written or not written, but you can use either different medium. You can use a radio, you can use a TV, projectors and everything, or video recording.